Hello everyone, I'm Award and welcome to my kitchen. If you're new to the channel, I'm glad to have you stop by. I post videos on cooking, baking and home improvement. If such pique your interest, please subscribe to interact more with my content. For my returning subscribers, I'm so happy for each one of you. Keep coming back, okay? So I'll start by sending a shout out and appreciation to a lovely viewer called Glory. She requested I add a voice to the videos, hence the voiceover. Thank you so much, Glory. I do value your feedback. Today on this video, I'm sharing one of my favorite desserts, a rich, moist and delicious chocolate cake that's perfect for any occasion. So whether you're baking for a birthday, a celebration, or simply treating yourself, this recipe is sure to satisfy every chocolate lover out there. First, I start by prepping my baking tins. So initially, I've prepared baking tins using just margarine and flour. Today I'm going to use parchment paper and margarine, and this is how I just start by acquiring circular shapes from the parchment paper to line my round baking tins. You want to start by obtaining squares from your parchment paper. The width of your squares should be equal to the diameter of your baking tins. So in my case, my baking tins are 8 inches in diameter. Therefore, the width for my squares will be 8 inches long. So after this, make a diagonal fold on your squares by bringing together two opposite corners of the square. You use the middle of this diagonal fold as your pivot point for creating subsequent folds as shown in the video. So after making several folds on your paper, you should end up with such a triangular shape with one edge longer than the other. Use the shorter edge to guide your cutting process as you cut across to the other end of the paper. On unfolding your paper, you should see that you have created circular cuts for lining your baking tins, and this should fit perfectly like so. I then proceed to grease my baking tins with margarine, all the three of them. I'll apply margarine generously and make sure every inch of the tin is covered. After this, lay down the parchment paper at the bottom of the baking tin and align this properly to fit perfectly. Now on to the fun part, the baking. I'm preheating my oven to 180 degrees Celsius. I like setting up my ingredients in front of me to allow a smooth baking process. The best thing about this cake is that it's fairly easy to make. You don't need any special equipment. You just mix everything by hand and it'll be perfect. So I've started by mixing my dry ingredients in a large sieve. That is 2 cups of all-purpose flour, To this, I'm adding 1 cup of unsweetened dark cocoa powder. I'll also add a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of baking powder, and half a teaspoon of baking soda. Sieving is very important in baking. It helps to aerate your ingredients and get rid of lumps or chaff, so never skip this part. To my dry ingredients, I added 1 cupful of caster sugar. I heaped it up good. If you'd like more sweetness, you can add an extra half a cup of sugar. Again, mix everything together to evenly combine the ingredients. We'll set our dry ingredients on the side and get started on our wet ingredients. We need half a cup of margarine. You can use any margarine of your choice. Here I'm just scooping in 2 large tablespoonfuls of margarine. Later on, we'll top it up with half a cup of oil. While that is microwaving, we'll break 3 eggs in a large bowl. To watch out for eggshells and spoiled eggs, we break each egg separately in a bowl and then add it into the larger bowl. The margarine is melted and it's about 100 ml of margarine. I'll top up with an equal amount, that's 100 ml of vegetable oil, and Whisk my eggs, then add this mixture to the eggs. Next up is our vanilla essence. Yes, it's a chocolate cake, but we're adding vanilla essence for that extra oomph in flavor. To our wet ingredients, we'll also be adding fermented milk, half a cup of it, popularly known as maziwa mala. This has an acidic effect which activates the baking soda that we added to our dry ingredients. I'm topping the half a cup of mala with milk, so that is half milk and half mala. Go ahead and give that a good mix so that everything is nice and even. We'll need a hot cup of coffee in this recipe, so I'm setting the water to boil. While that is heating up, we're going to combine our wet ingredients and our dry ingredients. So make a well in the dry ingredients and pour in the wet ingredients. Then give it a good mix to combine everything. Like I mentioned earlier, there are no special equipment required for this kind of cake. A simple whisk is good enough to mix everything together and you're good to go. Our water is ready. Let's brew our coffee. So coffee heightens the flavor of chocolate. If you may wonder why we are adding coffee to a chocolate cake, it intensifies the flavor. So that's why. Look at how chocolatey that looks. It smells delicious too. A proper stir is necessary to ensure the coffee granules completely dissolve. We don't want to end up with bitter chunks of coffee in our cake. Once everything is properly combined, stop the mixing so that you don't overmix your butter. And that's it. Our cake batter is ready. We'll evenly pour it in our baking tins that we earlier prepared. So slightly tap the baking tins on the surface to just get rid of trapped air, and then pop them into the oven for about 40-45 minutes. You check with a toothpick. When it comes out clean, your cake is ready. It's 45 minutes later and our cakes are perfectly done. They're soft and moist as usual. The house smells heavenly. Look at the bounce. Very soft. Catch me in my next video as I decorate this. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Till next time. Goodbye.